Hi, I'm Andrew from Creative Guitar Studio. It's Friday, January 29th, 2010, and I'm just going to hit some emails that have come into the studio over the last few days and try and help some people out with advice that they're seeking. The very first email I'm going to go through here is from Harvey from Webster, New York. He wrote in saying, I'd be interested in knowing what are some of the worst music business experiences musicians should try and avoid. Well, the number one thing would be, of course, no freebies. You know, don't do anything for free. They really never really result in much. I know there's a lot of this sort of exposure thing that people will push towards you and saying, hey, you know, do this and it'll be great exposure for your band. It'll be just, you know, good exposure for you. Or, you know, I had it just happen recently to me. You know, I had a school division want me to come in, and, you know, the pay was just really terrible. But they said, oh, it'll be great exposure for your school. You know, I would have had to cancel classes to go and do it and so on. And just the other thing, I guess, that even relates to this question as well is, see, I wasn't able to offer any kind of an invoice with any kind of terms on the agreement. They, you know, they wanted to sort of have me as an employee for a day, and, you know, run me through as sort of like, you know, just get my social insurance number and run me through as on their payroll. And you know, that whole thing just didn't agree with me. I just thought, this is silly. The other side of that coin too is I was there about 10, 12 years ago, and they paid me like twice as much money as they were offering me this time around. So it was just all in all, you know, sort of a bad thing. In terms of getting back to sort of more gigs and playing other than, you know, teaching, but, you know, don't take gigs where you really can't set some kind of terms of agreement of how you're going to get paid. Especially don't take really a gig that, you know, is maybe especially a function or an event that you're going to get booked out for, where you're not going to be able to actually issue any kind of a contract, or you know, don't slack off on the whole contract issue. You know, make sure you know that's really upfront, and, you know, you take a lot of care. Be very careful when you're setting it up so that you don't lose money. It's very easy when you're a band leader and you're running gigs to lose money, so you don't want to be doing that. But yeah, I mean, it's overall, you have to sort of just make sure that whatever you're doing isn't worth your while, because as you're saying here, what kind of experiences, you know, should you avoid? Well, the ones that, you know, are a waste of your time, obviously, and anything is a waste of your time if you look at it in terms of what you're getting paid monetarily for it. If the pay is really poor, and you're going to maybe have to, you know, look at rearranging something else that maybe did pay you money. You know, it's like a lot of musicians that I'll work with, they actually have day jobs and so forth. So you know, if people have to cancel work where they're already getting, you know, they're going to lose money because they're going to have to cancel a shift at work, you know, for maybe even a lesser amount for a gig. A lot of times musicians will do that, and they'll look at it as, well, at least I'm playing a gig and I'm getting, you know, experience and so on. But I mean, I don't know, this business is getting harder and harder all the time. You know, it's not a very easy business to make money in. And like I gave you that example, you know, 10 years ago I did that thing for that school division, and they came, you know, at me, you know, here it is 10 years later. You think with inflation and everything, they'd be offering me, like, you know, a little bit more money. Literally, it was 50% less of what they had originally paid. So, you know, this kind of stuff, you just have to really watch yourself with it and make sure that you're always going in the direction of where you're basically making money and things are, you know, working effectively in terms of a monetary value for you, and that you have control. So, I mean, that was the other thing I mentioned about, you know, don't really take gigs where you don't have any kind of a way to invoice, you know, something. Let's go to the next question. This one is from Dennis in Alberta, Edmonton, Alberta. He says here, my band wants to release a CD. What should we budget? And how many actual CDs should we have pressed? And what is the best way to sell them digitally on the internet? Also, do you think it's a good idea to make a DVD? Well, there's kind of a lot of questions there. I'll just kind of address each one briefly. First of all, your first question was, what should we budget and how many actual CDs should we have pressed? Well, you know, I'm not a big believer in really, if you're making a serious CD, to just do it out of somebody's basement or, you know, out of somebody's house or something. I mean, go to a really good studio, and you're certainly really not going to get that for, you know, you're not going to get a decent CD for like a couple $1,000. Or sometimes people have an idea they're going to go in the studio, they're going to make a CD for around $5,000 or something, but it's certainly going to be more money than that. By the time you're finished recording and you're going to do your mixing and mastering and all that stuff, artwork for the CD. You know, a lot of people forget about artwork, and, you know, if you're, you know, certainly don't want to let your, your bass player's, you know, 14-year-old son do the artwork or something. It's just going to be shoddy. You want to hire a professional graphic designer who's used to doing CDs and probably has actually like a CD layout, all set to go. Like the guy that did my CDs, like he actually had he'd done the first couple of CDs, artwork for the band Nickelback. I mean, this is somebody who's professional graphic designer, and they don't work cheap. It's going to be a few bucks. So I would say budget at least, let's say $20,000 to $25,000 in a ballpark figure, and you're going to get a really nice CD that when you present it to clubs, it's going to look super professional and it's going to be sounding fantastic. Next up is how many should I make? As little as possible, really, because people aren't really buying that many CDs anymore off stage. I mean, you might sell a few at a gig. If you need more, you can always get more pressed. But maybe make 100 CDs in the beginning, and really try to focus on the digital distribution side of things. That was your other question. Where should I sell them? Well, there's always CD Baby, which is actually hooked in with iTunes, and they're sort of worldwide distributor. But ideally, your best bet is to sell it off your own website. Just hire somebody who's good at PHP scripting, maybe to run a script through PayPal. Have your own shopping cart system, and do everything yourself. You'll be able to tell your crowds, at your club dates and so forth that you play. Oh, you can get my CD off my website, or check out our CD. You can digitally download it off our site or whatever. That way you have total control over it. You know exactly how much money's coming in for it all the time, and you're paying very limited amounts out for doing the transaction. Let's say if you do it through PayPal, it's like for every $10 that PayPal's going to run through, maybe they're going to take 45 cents or 50 cents or something. So it's minimal. But that also brings me around to the whole aspect of websites. Make sure you go with a seriously good hosting company. Like, I'm really shocked sometimes. Like, I just had a friend of mine who. I'm not going to go too much into this, but basically, here's the scoop. He paid about $300 to have this website made, and he was all happy because the guy that made it was going to host it for him for like $25 a month. And I was like, wow, like that's an unbelievable amount of money for one website. And I went and looked at it. It had like 7 pages. There was really nothing to it. It wasn't making him any money. There was no shopping cart system integrated into it. It was just basically $25 every month out the window. And you can go to, like, I use for my websites, and I've got a number of websites, and I use United Internet. They're a huge company. You could have 10 websites running with them for probably about $9 a month or something. That's sort of the way that you want to go, is a big hosting company, so that you have a lot of integration. Like, you can go in there and set up shopping carts, because they're going to have you'll have some dedicated database servers that you'll be able to go in and set up those systems on. So there's a lot to it, and it does get expensive. So the last question that you had also was, do you think it's a good idea to make a DVD? Personally, no, I don't. I mean, how many DVDs do you think you're really going to sell off stage? And at the same time, I mean, you can't do that as a digital download. It's too big of a file, so you literally have to physically ship those out. If you have video stuff of yourself, put it up on YouTube and just direct people there to see your band. I'm going to go to one more email here. It's from Mark in Ireland. He says here, I was wondering how good you need to be to attend the Guitar Institute of Technology, and realistically, what would someone's chances of getting into the school be? Well, you have to be good enough that you're going to really make solid use of the time there. I mean, I wouldn't go there if I was quite a poor player. Essentially, I mean, they got so many different entrance programs now. It's very different from when I went. I went back around 1990, and it was very different back then. It wasn't really... It was just sort of like one basic program. Now they have different kinds of programs you can run through to get sort of into the pace of the school. I would just try to be the best player that you could possibly be. If you can, as a way to judge that out, maybe if you can solo over some of the basic jazz standards, you probably have the skill level to do really well there. Plus, I think you should be able to read and have a basic handle on some of your overall initial theory concepts. It's really important. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it has to do with if you have the money together. You're from Ireland, so you're coming in as an international student, and I think you have to have quite a few statements ready to show to the United States government that you're fully capable of going there and living there for a period of time without having a job. You're not going to have a green card or a social, I forget what they call it, a social security number or something. You're not going to have anything like that, so you can't legally work there. But if you got the money to do it and you've got the chops and so forth, I'm sure they're very realistic that they would obviously let you into the school. But anyway, that's about all the time I have for today. Hopefully I can get another one of these up online next week. So until then, take care. We'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now.